But there is an element in early stage technology that is mainly research and development. So it's not just there all of a sudden. There's a lot of work to be done to actually create and then perfect and then commercialize that technology, and that takes time and effort. So one thing that sometimes entrepreneurs, especially in the scientific field, do not keep in mind is the lead time to actually having an idea that may work and then developing that technology and then commercializing it. They seek for-profit capital really early on. What is blended capital? Blended capital is a mix of 2 or 3 types of those. You have philanthropic capital that's mainly given to you as a grant. So the majority of the R&D and researches that we see happening are usually driven by that philanthropic capital. You see organizations that take on a mission and put money behind that mission to find cures to diseases, to develop and perfect technologies that later on can be used by entrepreneurs to enable businesses. There is, and of course, philanthropic capital, it's money that you get and they don't expect it back, although they expect a result. So they expect you, when you take that money, to come out with a project that is very well carried out, a solution to a problem, an invention, or the like. So you still deliver, except you do not deliver money. You deliver on the commitment you made to them when you approached them to take some of that capital. The other type of capital in there is development capital, which is a mix of like the philanthropic, like you take it, we don't expect it, just deliver, and the for-profit, you take it and you give us return back. We want to see profit coming out of it. The development capital is what we call patient capital. So they give you money, they expect you to deliver profits. They just are easy on you when it comes to the timelines of that, and sometimes it's discounted as well, so they do not expect you to offer them a return similar to that of the commercial capital that is there. And of course, the for-profit capital is when you do things straightly for profit, no impact, nothing else. It's just making money. How can we blend those together to make sure that we close gaps on the ground that we suffer from as a region? Although you see billions being directed into Middle East and Africa to support startups, we still have the struggle in the really early stage investments and the pre-seed and seed. Although we have multiple angel investment networks and we have really early stage startups, governments building accelerators, there is still a challenge and a gap. Just imagine that you blend, you put together some of the capital where we do not expect return, so the entrepreneurs can actually use that money to do the research, do the market research, build the solutions and the businesses. And then comes the for-profit capital after the startup has already put together a minimum viable product. They've already gone to market, done some testing and achieved some traction on the ground. So it's like everybody's happy. The ones who do philanthropy or development, they're happy because the startup is out, they see social impact being carried out. The for-profit people are happy because they're not going to be risking money or giving money to startups that do not exactly fit their risk appetite. There's no concern in there. They're going to be putting money in a proven idea at least, and so everybody's happy. So blended capital or blended finance is one of the driving forces in emerging markets, as we say. So if I am to leave the audience with a comment or something to do in there, I would ask every organization, corporation, to have an investment arm in there, early stage, to offer support to the startups, partner with them. I would encourage every high net worth individual, every family office to have some philanthropic capital that is directed towards R&D. And I would definitely encourage the VCs and the for-profit money to seek the partnerships and work together with everybody to create value for everyone and drive that pipeline of startups on the ground that we currently miss. We can mobilize money into Middle East and Africa, but unless we have that reliable pipeline of investable startups, we are not going to get anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Now with just 2 minutes remaining, I would like to have the panelists leave our audience with some actionable advice. So in just 2 to 3 sentences, Sky and Noah, could you please, for those of us who are not serial entrepreneurs and we're not just shooting darts in the dark, give new entrepreneurs advice. Where can they access capital in this region?
Well, let me give one piece of advice to policymakers, one to investors and one to entrepreneurs. To policymakers, bringing down the barriers and the knowledge barriers to entry in a market is critical. It's happening, organizations are forming, but it's very critical that it shouldn't be labor intensive, money intensive, et cetera, to sort out how to operate in the regulatory environment, form the company, et cetera. So these customer service agents like what Saudi had in the Saudi Arabian General Investment Authority, the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, these are very important to lower that barrier because that time and that money is precious and it's not a useful, productive use of capital. So regulators, that's critical to bring those barriers down. To investors, I believe you got to commit to the market to get comfortable and understand the opportunity here, the cultural diversity, the language diversity, the micro barriers. It seems very scary and complex from the outside, but once you're inside, it's a vibrant, investable opportunity. High population growth rates, growing wealth, adoption of technology, supportive and visionary governments. There's a good environment to commit some resource, to get on the ground, get comfortable in the region and support this ecosystem, and you'll make money and be rewarded for it. And then to the entrepreneurs, it's what I said earlier, when you're going to go build a company, commit, right? Understand, you mentioned, are you a solution in search of a problem, or are you solving a real problem? Do that work. There's a lot of knowledge out there. You're not alone, but you really need to commit. And then I would say invest your own capital. Nothing speaks louder to investors that if you put your own money and your friends and the other co-founders and actually started something, that traction, people see that commitment and they want to support it, and it will increase your chance of investment success.
Thank you, Sky. And Noah, if you could just, out of time, but just one sentence.
Okay, one sentence that would be build the right vehicles, put the vehicles in place that can help you mobilize capital from outside the region to inside the region. There are many things that need to be done, but this is one critical path that takes a long time to have the right vehicles in place that can help you deploy that capital once you actually attract it. You've already covered the part of attracting the capital.
Excellent. Thank you both. Let's give a round of applause to our panelists, Sky Kurtz and Noah Shaker.